Welcome to No Nonsense Nonprofits. Hi, I'm Sandy Ray, founder of Sandra E. Ray CPA, where we alleviate financial headaches so that you can focus on creating a bigger impact. Today, we're going to talk about understanding state AI laws and what Indiana nonprofits need to know in 2026. This is a topic that is quickly moving from future technology to real operation and compliance issues for our organizations. State artificial intelligence laws and governance across the United States are rapidly creating rules around AI transparency, privacy rules, hiring tools, deepfakes, consumer protections, and discrimination. And even though there is not one federal, single encompassing AI law, organizations are already expected to use AI responsibly. And for nonprofits, this matters more than many organizations realize, as it is now used in fundraising, donor management, HR operations, volunteer management, case management, marketing, grant writing, and client services. So today we are looking at the broader trend in state AI laws, how Indiana is approaching AI regulation. We're using that as an example because that's where I'm from. The biggest AI risks for nonprofits, and then practical governance steps for organizations that you can be implementing now. So let's get started. And I think this is going to be a little bit longer than most days, so hopefully we provide you with enough information and still keep this video short enough. The national trend in state AI laws. Right now, the US does not have one comprehensive federal law. Instead, states are creating their own AI-related rules. States like Colorado, California, Texas, Utah, and Illinois are leading the way with focusing on AI transparency, bias prevention, privacy protections, regulations around deepfakes and frauds, and regulations around automated decision making. So let's talk about the 5 major areas that these laws are focusing on. And one is discrimination, preventing the AI system from unfairly affecting hiring, lending, healthcare, housing, and education decisions. The second area is transparency, requiring organizations to disclose when someone is interacting with AI and not a real human being. Employment AI. There are all kinds of regulations around AI hiring tools, resume screening systems, and automated assessments. The fourth is deepfakes and frauds, trying to make sure that AI generated impersonations, scams, and deceptive media are eliminated. And then, of course, finally, data privacy, ensuring that our organizations are responsibly handling personal data used by the AI systems. Even if your organization is using AI-powered tools, it may create a legal or governance issue, and you need to be responsible and take action there. So what is Indiana's approach? Indiana does not have one encompassing AI law. They are taking the approach that AI is part of the business process and is already regulated through privacy law, consumer protection laws, employment laws, fraud laws, cybersecurity requirements, and other sector-specific guidance. So AI is just still subject to the existing legal standards. They haven't created anything new other than the Indiana Data Protection Act, which is effective this year. And they did create this because AI systems heavily rely on personal data. So for nonprofits, donor databases, volunteer records, client information, counseling records, fundraising analytics, chat box interactions, and HR systems. Those are the major areas that Indiana is looking at for personal data. And even though not-for-profits may have exemptions from certain parts of the law, we should still pay attention to the law because AI workflows often involve a third-party vendor and they would be subject to it. And we want to make sure that those vendors are following regulated data practices. Another thing I want to talk to you about are key areas of risk. I've got several key areas that I would like to cover. The first and foremost is data relating to donors and fundraising. We have all kinds of AI doing donor segmentation, predictive fundraising, email generation, grant writing, behavioral targeting, and just our donor management automation. That leaves us vulnerable for uploading sensitive donor information to public AI tools, using AI to generate messages that could be misleading, or relying on vendors without reviewing their data retention practices. So the things that we want to do here is make sure that we have updated our privacy notices, disclose any AI assisted usage where appropriate, review vendors' contracts carefully, and establish internal AI usage policies. Remember that consumer protection laws still apply if AI generated fundraising communications become deceptive or manipulative. The next topic I want to talk about is HR and volunteer screening. AI tools are being used for resume screening, volunteer onboarding, productivity tracking, hiring assessments, and staff evaluations. The concerns here all relate around discrimination against older applicants, disabled applicants, minority groups, or any protected classes. We do not want AI to cause us an issue and become legally responsible for a discrimination that the AI has in place. So we're going to look at what we're doing with AI in this area. We're going to make sure for best practices that we do have human oversight over this process, that we're looking at fairness in these reviews. We have documentation of our decisions, and we're very transparent about how AI is being used. Please remember, AI can only support the decision. It does not replace human judgment, and that's what really needs to be used. Now, mental health and human services programs. This is one of the most sensitive areas for AI usage in nonprofits. The Indiana lawmakers have discussed restrictions involving AI impersonating licensed mental health professionals. And this is specifically important in not-for-profits that have counseling programs. Maybe you provide some crisis services. Maybe you have some youth support initiatives, behavioral health programs, and faith-based counseling. I would encourage you to avoid presenting chatbots as a therapist, allowing AI to provide a clinical diagnosis, and replacing licensed professionals with AI systems. Instead, clearly label any AI tool as non-human system. Keep those licensed staff involved and require human review for any sensitive situation. Now I'd like to talk about the deepfakes, the fraud, and the reputational risks. AI scams, as you know, are rapidly increasing, and it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between what's real and what's not real. Nonprofits are becoming targets for executive voice cloning, fake donation requests, impersonated charity leaders, and fraudulent wire transfer requests. So we really need to be aware of this and do what we can to eliminate them. So in order to do that, we might be able to implement some procedures, maybe a callback verification procedure, approval of controls of financial transfers. So no financial transfer can be made by one person. Staff AI scam training. I mean, your staff is the one who's going to catch these, and the more information that they have, the better they will be at doing that. And then donor fraud awareness messaging. Put some messaging out there. This is what we're doing. This is what we're not doing. Maybe doing a little bit of training along the way to help people identify. Maybe there's something you're going to be putting in your messaging that the AI does not include. This is not just an IT issue anymore. It's now a governance issue and an operational risk issue. So let's talk a little bit about recommendations for a governance checklist. I'm going to break this down into different areas. The first is governance. And as always, I'm going to recommend that we create an internal AI policy where we define what approved AI tools that the team can use. We assign oversight responsibility to the AI systems to various people, and we train our staff on acceptable use. We also want to address in those policies data privacy, reviewing donor and client data handling, restrict sensitive data uploads to public AI platforms, vet any AI vendors carefully and read their contracts, and update your privacy policies and make sure that your vendors are aware of them. In the HR employment area, we want to keep humans involved in the employment decisions. We want to audit our AI tools for bias and document our decision-making process. In our program systems, we want to clearly disclose any AI-generated interactions and require human review for high-risk cases. And then finally, for our cybersecurity, we want to train our staff on AI scams and deepfakes. We want to review cybersecurity insurance coverage and strengthen verification protocols. So to summarize everything that we've talked about, the main trend that we're seeing is AI regulation is shifting from this is experimental technology to this is part of day-to-day stuff, governed operational risk, and we need to be addressing it. Indiana is taking the approach of business friendly but cautious, and they're focusing on transparency, oversight, privacy, and responsible use. For nonprofits, the safest assumption now is if AI touches any sensitive data like donor information, is involved in employment decisions, involved in finances, or vulnerable populations, it should be governed just like any other regulated operational system in our organizations. Our boards, our funders, our auditors, our insurance, and our regulators are increasingly expecting organizations to demonstrate responsible AI oversight. So I encourage you to review where you are already using AI in your organization. Is it being used intentionally? Are you providing the guidance that's necessary for your team? Have you evaluated the risk in relationship to policies? Do they need to be updated? Again, educating the team on what to expect and begin building a practical AI governance framework before regulations become even more complex. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have any questions on this or other topics, please put those in the comments below and we will do our best to answer them. Of course, we always appreciate your likes. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Remember, creating a bigger impact starts with stopping the nonsense. If you're dealing with nonsense in your nonprofit organization, we'd love to help you cut through the noise.